you don't have like departmental softball games that you?
Not since my time, sir.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
So I believe we're just going to be waiting for one more to have quorum.
Well, I should, now I've got a really bad cough, but I do not have COVID. I've tested many times,
Oh, good.
but something, but the last meeting, we had an emergency because our dog had become demented and fearful and aggressive and blind and deaf and got lost under things. And when my partner tried to help her get out from under something, she bit her and it got really infected. And I had
Oh, no.
yeah, it was really bad. The first two antibiotics didn't clear it up, and so she had to go to the emergency room
Oh,
and
bad infection.
had to get IV.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really scary. So yeah, so that's what's been going on. It's sort of.
Have they seen that with dog bites before, where it's an infection that doesn't respond to normal antibiotics?
Sometimes, I guess that, yeah, yeah, animals and people bites are apparently very bad too.
I've heard
yeah.
people bites are the worst.
Yeah, apparently so, but the dog had some bad, but yeah, it was sort of
old
wild moment.
granola.
All right, well, it looks like we have quorum. I have heard from Chair Gatch that he may or may not be able to show up just due to his travel. So hopefully he'll be joining us. But in the meantime, I believe that will be passing it over to Member Samatsky to help run that. But feel free to let me know if you need any help.
Oh, I will definitely need help. All right, so let's give this meeting to order. It looks like we have a quorum. I hope Aaron shows up. Would someone like to read? Oh, this is the call to order. Would someone like to read the what do we call that? The acknowledgement statement, or shall I? Okay, since you're all dying to do it, I'll go ahead. The City of Albany recognizes that we occupy the land originally protected by the Confederated villages of Lashawn. We acknowledge the genocide that took place on these lands and must make strides to repay the moral debt that is owed to this indigenous people, specifically the Ohlone tribe. We thank them for their contributions, which have transformed our community and will continue to bring forth growth and unity. The City of Albany commits to sustaining ongoing relationships with the tribe and together build a better future for all that now make this their home. All right, so it looks like we're going on to the approval for minutes. Do I have a motion for approval?
I think first we should do a roll call.
Oh, thank you. Roll call.
All right, I'll go ahead and get that started. Chair Gatch, absent. Member Bergman?
Here.
Member Bowers?
Here.
Member Goodman?
Here.
Member Shaw?
Here.
Member Samatsky?
Here.
And Member Raxel? I believe I see her in the audience.
I am here.
All right, we got you. All right, go ahead, Member Samatsky.
Oh, are we moving on to a motion for approval of the minutes?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do we have one?
I move to approve.
Thank you. Second?
I second that motion.
Thank you.
I'll take votes. Member Bergman,
Yes.
Member Bowers,
Yes.
Member Goodman,
Yes.
Member Shaw,
Yes.
Member Samatsky,
Yes.
and Member Rexel.
Yes.
All right, motion has passed.
Thank you. Now we are on public comment. Are there public comments tonight?
There are no public comments at this time.
Thank you, Keenan. Can we move on to announcements then? Are there any announcements from staff or community members?
Are you, I'm sorry, is the gallery on the agenda and if not?
Yes,
can
it
you-
is. When we're
It
coming
is, so you'll
to the,
give us. an
yes, we're
announcement.
coming up
Okay.
to the subcommittee reports coming up.
Okay.
I have a little quick announcement. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen for you. All right, so if you go to the front page of the City of Albany, now you can see that we have a nice banner for the
Oh,
gallery
thank you.
artists. So this will be going through, and we have some more capabilities for other programs in that sense. So feel free to reach out to me if you're interested, and we can work something out as well. But definitely just wanted to show it to you. As soon as you click it, it'll bring it right to the Foyer Art Gallery page as well.
That's great.
Good.
Well done.
I'd like just to take a minute since we saw that to say that Keenan's and the whole staff there has been so wonderful, you know, taking all this in and changing all of these things. And that's just one of the results of it. It makes it a really big difference that it comes to the foreground, what we're doing here. So thank you very much. Okay, if we have no announcements or we're done with announcements, we're going on to presentations. Anything there?
I believe there's no presentations tonight.
Thank you. This one I haven't encountered before. We're going to discussion of possible action on matters related to the following items. Members joining subcommittees. I'm not sure what we're doing here, but are there members here who would like to join a subcommittee? And I really encourage it. I know that sometimes when you join a subcommittee, you think, oh no, it's going to be overwhelming. But if you join it, you know, it just spreads the work. It's not like you're in charge of anything. So if you're not on a subcommittee, I really encourage you to get on one, at least one. So do we have any questions or volunteers?
Yes, I would like to volunteer for the Economic Development Subcommittee. I think this was brought up last time. I want to follow up on that so we can formalize that.
Thank you. It really is a big deal, you know, that's connection with what we're doing. So, all right. The Economic Committee is, who is on that? Is that you, Peter? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. If we are done with that, then we're moving on to subcommittee reports. And the
First, we would there would need to be a motion and then a second, and then we'll bring it to
them
vote.
join. Okay. We need a motion, and I motion that we let Member Shaw join the Economic Committee.
I second that motion.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to go through a vote. Member Bergman,
Yes.
Member Bowers,
Yes.
Member Goodman,
Yes.
Member Shaw,
Yes.
Member Samatsky,
Yes.
and Member Raxel.
Yes.
So perhaps I can write Member Shaw by email and catch him up to date to the extent that I'm up to date.
Thank you. That would be great.
Okay. Thanks very much. That'll be great.
Okay, now we're moving on to subcommittee reports.
But before that, we do need to go through a public comment. If there's
Oh, I'm
any.
sorry. Yes.
And there's no public comment at this time, so.
All right. Then I guess we're now going on to subcommittee reports. And the first one we are coming to is the sculpture loan program. So, Michael.
Well, some good news and not so good news.
Oh.
On the good news front, we'll start there. The staff have been working really quickly and hard to get our first sculpture ready for its grand opening. I see the plaque has been staged, and this is Jeff Downing's work. That's at the corner of Masonic and Washington. So that's ready to go. In fact, I have a request for other members. Keenan informed me they're trying to arrange for this grand opening ceremony either July 19th or July 21st. Unfortunately, I leave for Africa tomorrow for 3 weeks of business, so I will be unable to attend. And I definitely would ask any other committee members if you have time available to make yourself present there. I think any additional members from the committee would be well received. And Keenan then could arrange that final time and date for that sculpture launch. This is the Baird spiral piece. The not so good news, and I'm kind of really sad to hear this, and I should have not pushed my good luck last meeting we had, but unfortunately the sculpture loan from Kiko Nelson does not look like it's going to go forward, primarily because the expenses that were being proposed to her for removing her piece from its current location, which is actually in Berkeley, to the pedestal, and she did not anticipate the cost from this other installer. The sculptor herself, the artist, does not live here in California. She's Colorado based. So she had been back and forth with staff to see what that expense would really look like, and could we, look at anything additional. And unfortunately, she concluded she needed a withdrawal from the sculpture loan program. So that kind of leaves us with, a partially laid out plan. And Keenan and I were reviewing what are the options that we could look at. One obviously is reopen the process to get another artist to come forward. And so I would like to hear other members on the pros and cons on that, because I know that administratively we're still asking people to do things. And so I like a little input from you all to help, or we don't fill this other slot with the sculpture loan program, which would be, a pity. And I'm unaware of our next cycle when we would actually, I would imagine this is what, a 2-3 year program.
Yeah, it's a 2-year loan program.
So, I would like to hear from other members their thoughts on option one, reopening the sculpture loan program, to see if we could find someone else quickly. I did ask Keenan if there were any other finalists in that last round, and there were not. So we couldn't go to any other candidates that may have applied.
Michael, could I ask you what the price was for the delivery of the sculpture to here? I think what I'm concerned about is, we were all concerned about this, and I think we upped the amount, that the artist would get. from the past to like 2,000 instead of 1,000. But I'm not really sure about that. I can't remember. And I wondered, how far off are we?
Keenan, do you remember the delta between what that artist was looking at from this other individual that would actually do the installation?
Yes. So I do believe, I know it's a little harder from being out of state and working with another person for this as well. So that just brings in some other components. But it was definitely more than the stipend would have been for the both installing and removal process. So,
But was that the old price or the new price? I think we made it so that they would get more. So what I'm wondering is how much we have to look forward to if we reinstitute this idea of bringing in sculpture, then we've got to be, realistic about how much they're going to have to pay to get it here.
So I do believe it's broken into 2 payments, one on installing the sculpture at the location, and then the other 50% would be removal. So I do believe it's $1,000 per stipend. So 50% upfront and 50% when it's removed.
So we're more in line with it by the new guidelines that we passed, because I think we went up to 2,000.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, I thought about going back to the artist as well. I didn't know how much flexibility we had on some of the installation costs. I suspect she has other concerns there too that maybe aren't fleshed out, but beyond the cost, again, where Keenan and I were sort of dialoguing is reopening the program, which I'm not opposed to at all. I'm also realistic. I don't think that will be a quick journey. But we can do that, or not have a second sculpture in the loan program for this period.
I'm sorry, Peter, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I would certainly agree that the program could be reopened, considering our past history. Figure 2 years. It's not going to happen very quickly. But since we have those sites and all the approval, and it'd just be a shame to not have it. I'm sure we could find something, so I'd be in favor of that. And I had another question about the opening of the one that is going in. Did you have any kind of remarks prepared that you wanted to deliver, and that one of us could deliver in your stead?
I haven't done that, but I'm more than happy to create that in advance of the date. I would have done that.
We've done that in the past, just to kind of give a background of the, to give a kind of a background and give us some context and welcome the artist and say what a contribution is to the city, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think it has to be very long, but I think it'd be good if you could prepare some remarks. I'm sure one of us could deliver them for you.
Great. So I'll do that in the next few days, and Keenan, maybe I can rely on you to help transmit that to the members and who would like to sort of, does either the 19th or 21st make any difference to members, or, because I think it'd be good to settle on the date sooner for the artist's sake.
Was there a general time in mind?
Around 2 p.m. I think is what Keenan indicated with the artist.
I don't think it matters. That's during the week, right? It's like a Tuesday or a Thursday, something like
Correct.
that. Yeah. I don't think I can't imagine that it matters that much.
Okay, if there's no objections, then Keenan, maybe we can just settle for the 21st of July, if that accommodates the artist well, and then I can prepare the remarks in the next few days and send that forward. In terms of the reopening of the sculpture loan program, Keenan, maybe what I can do offline with you is just review what our language was like previously when we did that, and kind of walk through what would a light version look like in terms of, in order to expedite anything, and then maybe we can bring this back to the next meeting in terms of that formal plan.
Yeah, of course, we can definitely do that.
That's great. I think we should reopen it right away. Like Peter says, it takes a long time.
Mhm.
And we're not only down one, we're down two because we started with 3.
Oh, I
And
didn't
we
know
got
that.
1
Okay.
out of it. And I know part of it was COVID and there was a lot of issues there. But now that we have more money going to the artists, we might be able to, push this forward a little faster, so could we just start it all over again right now instead of just trying to replace the ones from the call?
Oh, yeah. Should we be looking for 2?
Definitely. I think we should be looking for 2.
Keenan, any considerations in terms of what formally was approved? We can occupy the same original plan, I guess, as we're saying, and that shouldn't be a statutory problem of budget or original planning.
Correct. So we will have to bring this as a full agenda item, probably at the next meeting to make that decision.
Okay.
But yeah, we can definitely add that.
I think
Great.
this is just a wonderful thing for the community. I really do. So
Yeah, I'm excited. I got that positive feedback from you all. I was a little skeptical that this would work on a reopening, but I also would be excited about being part of the front end of it versus the other side of it. So I'm looking forward to get involved in the sausage making on this stuff.
Yeah, that's so true. It's so difficult to come in the middle when you don't know what's going on. So I totally agree.
Great. Well, I appreciate everyone's efforts to provide guidance on that and for the members that can show up on Thursday, July 21st for Jeff's piece. That's really helpful. Thank you.
All right. I mean, it is kind of lame. We'll just be in Africa.
Well, if you want to do my trip, I have 3 countries to visit for work, and I don't know. I'm a little anyway.
Well, thank you. That's it. Are there any other comments from the committee? Keenan, do we have public comment?
We just go through all the subcommittee reports and then we'll do
all of them together. Okay.
public comment after.
So the next one we're going to is fall into haiku.
Could I just say, Keenan, would you please make sure the city does provide some opportunity for whoever to make some remarks? I don't know I don't know who's planning that program, but you could just let them know that we want to say something.
Yeah, no, of course. And then if anybody is interested in partaking in that grand opening, I would love to hear it now, but feel free to let me know as soon as you guys can.
Okay. All right. So I'm the Fall into Haiku subcommittee with Member Bergman. And Keen, would you mind putting up the budget that I
Yeah, of course.
sent you? So I prepared a spreadsheet budget based on current costs, which in the printing costs have been very volatile in the last couple months. So I can say with some confidence they're not going to go down. They might go up a little bit, but I don't think they're going to go up a terrible amount between within now and the next couple months, which is when we need it. So this is what it comes to. There's 2 kinds of signage that we've done for this in the past. One is a yard sign, which is basically like a political campaign sign, and that sticks in the ground, and those are usually up and down Solano Avenue, and then in some of the city parks and public spaces, like around the community center and around the city hall and the police department. The other kind are 11 by 17 prints that go into the big belly trash receptacles. And I guess 4 or 5 years ago when we started doing this, those were in good condition. Now they're really, some of them are just not suitable. Some of them are missing their plastic shields, and some of them they're so graffitied or smudged up that it would be rude to put anything in there and expect people to spend time looking at them. So I don't know that we actually have 30 that we could use, but roughly we have 45 signs, 30 big bellies. That's a total of 75. And that's if we have 75 usable haiku, we can do that. So how many we do in the end will depend partly on which haiku we have, and then the budget, whether there's been a change that's going to make us reduce our costs. The total amount that we get to, which is about $870, is about the amount that the Albany Community Foundation said that they would be willing to pay. Because as a reminder, even though in the first couple of years this was paid for by the Public Places Fund, the city attorney has said we can no longer use those funds for this kind of program. So we are the generous recipients of a grant from the Albany Community Foundation, which they've promised us for this year. So that's in line with what their expectations are, and I'll have to confirm that with them.
Peter, what does the production mean?
Pardon me?
What does the production mean?
Oh, well, you get the haiku on Excel spreadsheets, and then all those things have to be converted in using InDesign or Photoshop onto signs, individual PDF files that then have to be created and then sent to a print company. And so that whole job has to be it has to be designed and produced and then managed. So that's about 8 hours in the total, just by the time you get done with all the corrections and all the other stuff.
No, that's great.
So that's about where that is. And then could you go to the next attachment I gave you? So this is it says spring into haiku because this is what we used last year. The fall into haiku for this coming year will be roughly the same plan as this. This is the kind of call for submissions that goes out from the city, and it has a deadline. It explains the program, and then it talks about who's eligible to submit, and then it talks into how to submit. Could you scroll down a bit there to the next page? So it just gives all the interest. This gets posted on the city's website, and when you click through it, it takes you to a submission page where people can actually fill in their haiku online, and then that gets that can be downloaded into a Excel spreadsheet that then gets sent to me, and from that is what we create the haiku. There's quite a bit of work that goes into sometimes editing things for sense, for style. If there are kids involved, we have to make sure that parents are aware, and so we kind of have to get permission sometimes. Things like that. It's not a lot of work. It's just fussy. So I think what will probably happen is that this will go up onto the city website in mid-August, and the deadline will be approximately October 1st. So within about 10 days of receipt of that, we should have all the everything lined up. We'll have kind of judging to go through and pick out the haiku. I think member Bergman, me, Becca Black, the past poet laureate, and maybe if we can find a high school kid who's interested in doing it, we'd like to do that too, because we certainly encourage kids to participate in this. And then then that just goes into production from there. So figure about a month worth of production. So the goal is to start putting these things in about the weekend before Thanksgiving, and then they'll last around into mid-December. So it's about 3 weeks on the street, and by then most people have seen them, and a lot of the signs are getting pretty beat up by that point. So that's the plan. All this, though, most of it, a lot of it has to happen when the Arts Committee is not in session. I notice our next meeting is September, so I think since this has already been approved by the committee, that Member Bergman and I can just go ahead and move ahead without seeking any further permissions from the committee.
Peter, do you have to be an Albany resident?
You have to, I think, who lives, works, or goes to school in Albany.
Okay, thank you.
So, yeah.
And who puts up all the signs?
Well, I do. And anyone who wants to help. I thought it was real fun the first year, and then I tried to get the city to do it, and the city had all these reasons for why they couldn't spare anyone for that to help me. So I've been doing it the last couple of years. It's not terrible. It's, you get to see the city and walk around.
Well, if anyone wants to volunteer for that, now's your time.
Yeah, you get a little wagon, drag it up and down the city. Who? Somebody volunteer?
I'm happy to help. Yeah.
Oh, good, good.
Oh,
All right.
hey!
All right.
Well,
So
I'm glad to
that's,
see you back.
Since
that's
I'm
that.
I'm happy to
Good, good.
walk around my
Well, we'll make
city,
short work of it then. Yeah.
spread the joy.
It's usually nice and cool around then, you know. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know, third week in November. It's very, very pleasant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this all sounds great. You sound really organized, and I really appreciate the Albany Community Foundation.
Yes. Can't be said enough.
Yes, that's absolutely true. Do we have any questions or comments for Peter? Then we will move on to the Arts Economic Development, which is also you.
Okay, that's me too. And now Member Shaw is in. Yeah.
And yes, and Member Shaw.
All right. So last thing, I have not heard anything from the Economic Development Committee itself. The last I heard was that they were going to be discussing some of the proposals that had come up to that might be good partnerships between the Arts Committee and what they're doing. But I haven't heard anything further on that. There is a plan for us to go around together and catalog some of the places where we think would be appropriate for murals in the commercial district. And Member Shaw, if you're interested, I can let you know what that's happening. Maybe you can join in on that. Good opportunity to walk around and maybe, you know, discuss plans and whatnot. So that's as far as I've got. I assume that they're not meeting in August either, so probably nothing happens on that till September. They meet at 5 o'clock on Thursday, which is kind of an impossible time for me. And Member Shaw, I don't know what your work schedule is like. It's very difficult. They meet, you know, during business hours, so it's difficult.
Can I ask, when you look for places for murals, are you talking about just city property or also private property?
Well, it would be private property, I mean, some of it's city property, but we're looking at, you know, business facades, and then there's a whole procedure I think we have to develop to talk to the businesses and get them on board and explain to them what's involved and see if they're interested in participating, what they're interested in contributing, to allay some of their fears maybe about insurance and property valuation. A lot of the people that we would have to talk to are tenants, not building owners, so they can't necessarily give us permission to do anything like that. So it's a bit of a administrative process, and it's wonderful that the city Economic Development Committee is actually behind that, because they are already in touch with a lot of the businesses for many other reasons. Mm-hmm. And it'd make it a lot easier for us to work ahead if we can split the work where they're doing a lot of the outreach and getting things set up, and then we can follow up with some of the kind of artistic and work and you know, execution considerations. It make for a very nice partnership.
Yeah, I agree, because most times murals make less graffiti, they make the space better. But You know what, I went into the, you know, the part in the, what do you call it, the arts plan for Albany, and there's a whole part there about private ownership and what the art happens when it's in private ownership, when it's on a building that is privately owned. So that kind of freaked me out. So I wondered if I think the Economic Committee will do a really good job, you know, bridging that gap.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that all sounds great to me. If we're done with that one, we're going to move on to the Creative Justice Art Project, which is mostly Aaron. He keeps me kind of in the loop. So maybe Keenan and I can fill you in. You know, there are going to be 6 people on the panel to judge this artwork. And we went into it assuming that we could invite people from the Economic Justice Committee and the, you know, and another committee and so forth. But what it turns out is that they want to meet and discuss and decide who will come, if at all. So that's making it a longer process. Is that right, Keenan?
Yes, so I do believe that all of the recommendations that Aaron posed have accepted, as well as there has been a non-voting member from the Economic Development Committee, as well as the Social Economic Justice Committee as well. They have both voted a member into that panel. So we have all the panelists ready to set and go. And I do believe Aaron will be working on the next process going forward after that.
Yes, and I think he's going to also be on the panel, the non-voting panel. There are 3 that vote, 3 that are there to listen and discuss. And so that's great news. That means we're moving forward. And he's done an absolutely fantastic job with this. I can't even tell you how good that's been. So it's really exciting to get to this point, and we're going to have this fabulous new project in town. So I'm really excited. So if we're going on from there, we're going to go to the Community Center Foyer Gallery, which is me. And I want to thank all of you for voting in the no fees. I actually applied to the Albany Albany Community Foundation for some extra money that I could give the artists. And I was able to say to them, you guys voted in no fees, so I didn't have to have any. So that was great. But also I got a lot of feedback from or what I thought was a lot, which is like 5 people, that talked about applying to the gallery and having to pay that $20 over and over and over again to apply. And so this actually, I think, will make a really big difference. So I want to tell you how appreciative everybody in the community is that we eliminated those fees. And I look forward to seeing more people apply. And Keenan has done a great job putting our call for artists back up. And we were just discussing today the 5th show next year, which you guys approved, is for the emerging artists. And we're going to make a separate registration for that emerging artist show. There's a new show up, and there was a lot to learn there. The city has, or the staff at the community center has taken on the responsibility of putting up one of the signs, the one way over the door, which I was really afraid of people being up on those ladders. And we've worked out a system to install all the art. This is the first time we were able to serve food this time. And we had music, and it was really great. She sold two things right at the show. And I would encourage all of you to try to get there, even if you just walk through for a minute, because we had quite a few people. We had 50, 60 people. And so it was doing really great. We have another show coming up that you approved earlier, which will end this year, and then we'll start the new one. We will vote on the applicants in the September meeting, right? The September meeting. So we'll see how that goes. But so far, everything is going really great, and we're getting streamlined ways to, what I didn't realize is most of the artists didn't know how to put up the artwork. So, you know, I'm trying to make instructions for that. And I stay with them to put up the artwork, and I attend the opening for the full period of time. So I think that helps, but I'm not sure. So anyway, it's going really great, and I'm really looking forward to next year. Anybody have some input there? Okay.
Peter, I believe you're muted.
Where are we on postcards for the next show?
That's going to be covered. Aaron and his group over there, Keenan and his group over there have committed to no fees and doing the postcards. But that's as far as we got, you know. I'm trying to push to get, especially for that 5th show, where we have emerging artists, and it's going to be 15 to 20 single works, not one person. It's going to be a group show. Yeah. I'm going to try to push to maybe get a little more money for that one. But I mean, this is a process. We're going to see how it goes. I mean, it was a huge big deal to eliminate the fees and still have the postcards. And so we're going to go on from there.
So you don't need me to do the postcard anymore?
No, I do. We do. You're going to be doing them. They'll be paid by the city.
Oh, okay.
They'll still be paid. It's just that the people don't have to pay for it.
Okay. Do I have to, well, I'll coordinate with you, because I think I need the artwork for what's going to be on the next card.
Oh, okay. I can contact her and get that.
Okay.
For sure. Because most people don't realize how expensive it is to frame 20 works of art. And it's really expensive, and it's super time consuming. This last show, none of her artworks were framed. And so she and her husband had to make floating frames for 20 artworks. And then they buy the food and all of that stuff. It's super expensive for them to show. And it's for the advantage of everybody here in Albany. So we're going to put the support back in supporting artists here. So it's been a really great thing that all of you've done.
Great.
Okay, the Poet Laureate.
Okay, that's me and Member Bergman. So I've been remiss. I have not got it together to organize the selection committee, and I'd like that to happen in the next couple weeks. But since we're not meeting until September, question for Keenan: should we just hold off on making the official committee recommendation until our September meeting, or have some sort of Zoom, special Zoom sentence that is meeting that's publicly noticed and just without one order of business sometime in August, presumably? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so typically August is a recess month for committees and commissions. A lot of people tend to go on vacations during this month, but we do have the option of doing a special meeting if you choose as well as want to go down that path. So we have that option, or it can be held off till September meeting as well.
Well, can we hold that option open then and see where we are with the selection committee and with everyone's availability? I'm not sure it makes a huge difference in the end, but it'd be good to get it taken care of so that we can bring it to the council, because the council ultimately is the one that has to make the appointment.
Mhm.
And that's as far as I get.
I did, I think, Keenan, I think you sent me a contact with the library. And I know a couple of teachers at Albany High, looking for members of the selection committee. And one of them, one of them is willing to serve. She doesn't live in Albany, but she teaches at Albany High. That
certainly qualifies, yeah.
Okay. I have the name of somebody who at the high school, and Keenan, you gave me somebody with contact for the library. So I don't know. Do we need a couple of other people?
I think with if those 3 people plus maybe you and then Becca Black, who's also said that she's willing to serve, I think that would be enough. I have to look at. We have the list of what sort of people should be on the committee, and why don't you and I go over that and then see if those people qualify, and then we can maybe assemble it from there.
Because one thing that I was concerned about was that the one candidate is moving to Berkeley, and if she's still working at Albany Village, then that's okay.
Yeah, I think so, and I'm not sure we should be discussing that here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but my understanding, we're still on.
Okay.
We still have
we're still on.
a qualified. Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I wasn't sure. I'm not sure if I am supposed to be communicating with you, not outside of meetings, or.
No, we're a subcommittee, so in this,
so we can.
we can discuss all this and figure out how to proceed.
Okay, yeah. Great. Yeah, I'm still getting used to.
Well, I think we can go ahead and create the committee and sort of do that whole thing, because that doesn't need committee approval. Just when we reach a recommendation to the Arts Committee, then we need to have a
Okay.
Brown Act is hard.
Yeah.
So
Robert's rules.
Yeah.
Do we have any comments or questions about the poet laureate? Okay. So the last one we have is Art in Public Places Ordinance Subcommittee, and that's Aaron and I. And honestly, we haven't got around to it. We've been pushing up against it a lot, but we haven't really got to the study of this ordinance. And the crucial part of this is, what can the Art in Public Places ordinance money be used for? And what is the definition of public art? That is where we're getting it. And the pushback from the lawyer is always where we get into this. Like Peter said, his whole haiku project is not funded from the Art in Public Places, but it used to be.
Right.
And all around us in Emeryville, in Berkeley, in Oakland, in San Francisco, and El Cerrito, they use this public arts fund, and all over the country for many other projects. And we have questions for why we are so restricted. Okay, so that is what it's about, and that is what we keep coming in contact with the new Creative Justice Project. Who can judge it, how are they paid, who's going to pay it, the Foyer Art Committee, the Foyer Art, the haiku, like these are all arts projects. And we're going to what we hope to do is first define public art, and then find out exactly why that public art or how that public art is seen by the lawyer of the city. You know, because we feel that all of these arts projects should be funded by that, and they seem to be in other places. So if you would like to join that committee, that would be great. In fact, we should all be on that committee, because it really defines what we're doing here. And if we can get that agreement about what public art is and how we spend the money from that fund, then it's going to make it a lot easier for us to move faster to make more art in the community. In my opinion. That's always my opinion. Okay. Do we have?
Have you tried to, do you think there are any local attorneys that might be willing to donate some time to the Arts Committee to help sort through some of these issues?
I do. I think not only lawyers, but I think I can reach out to the arts committees in other cities. And they have documents that
Right.
define, you know, my daughter is a planner in San Francisco, and she's involved in this fund, obviously, because every building has one, right?
Right.
So their lawyer defines this much differently. Of course, there are communities that get large influxes of private money from foundations, and it's all kind of, you know, mixed together. So we really have to look specifically about what this fund is funding in other cities.
Yeah.
So I can definitely reach out to the lawyers in other cities and to planners and to building departments, you know, all of those kinds of things to find out where that money is going in other cities.
Yeah.
But, you know, as far as I can tell, in other cities, there are, you know, music concerts, theater productions, you know, events of all kinds. They're not just pieces of art put places, you know, just murals and sculptures, you know. So we'll see. I think it's an interesting question, and one that needs answers specifically here, because we
Right.
don't have a lot of other foundation money.
I assume the city is basically just looking for some legal argument that would justify them freeing up the funds to do it. I don't think they're philosophically opposed to it. Maybe they just feel
Right.
hamstrung by legal precedent. I know there have been some lawsuits in Southern California that this determination has been based on, but other cities seem to have found a way around it. And I don't know what.
Well,
what to do.
also, I think you got the same information I did. There's a new idea for the public art money that it is spent in the project that is built,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, right.
Yes. I mean, I just heard this information that instead of, even if they give the money to the city, you know, they go, we don't want to be bothered with this, you know, we'll give it to you, but the city has to put the artwork where the project was.
Well, that was a restriction on a particular building project. I think partly because the scale or the scope of that particular thing. I'm not sure that really applies to the you know, the overall interpretation of you know, how that money's supposed to be sent.
Well, I think that's the problem. We don't have any idea. You know, it seems to change a lot. It changes day by day. It changes from city to city. And I think what we're all trying to, I don't think, well, money goes now. We don't want any art. I don't think that at all. I think that we just have to all look at it and make sure we're all kind of on the same page so we understand it. And that's what that committee is about. Okay. Any more comments about this? Any more people like to volunteer for that? Okay, I guess this is the time to ask for public comment, right, Keenan?
Correct. And we do have one public comment so far.
Okay.
Hi, thank you, everybody. Good evening. This is Jeremiah. Don't know if you could tell by my voice, but it's me, and I'm glad to see everybody. So I remember I sent an email back to you guys in February, I think February 11th, and I had suggested, that the SEJC be involved in the process of somewhat. And so thank you very much for getting the SEJC involved. We have a new committee member. His name is Robin. And I do a lot already. And so I'm a fair guy. And so we all had selected. Someone's microphone on. I can hear your BART train going by. And so anyway, so we let Robin be the judge for the creative justice program. And, of course, naturally, I wanted to do it. I wanted to be involved because I like being involved in everything. That way I have a good sense of what's going on in the city. And so he said that he used to be a freelance photographer and he's done this kind of stuff before. And so I went ahead and said, you probably make a better judge because, you know a lot more about art than I do. All I did was take Mr. Hill's art class in high school and I got a B. It's kind of interesting how you can grade art anyway. And so, so we selected Robin. He's a good guy. And I hope you can reach out to Ann, city clerk, to maybe get his email address to let him be involved in what's going on. So I encouraged him. There's no hard feelings at all. I love seeing new people step up to the plate and getting involved in the city. That's what it's all about. I'm all over the place. I do enough. So I'm happy to see a new guy step up to the plate. I was really proud to see that. Looking forward to the results in that. I suggested I'll be an alternate, in case he doesn't show up or in case he has something to do. So I could be an alternate for that. So then I was just gonna say, I heard you talking about hiring an attorney or getting an attorney to volunteer and all that sort of stuff. I didn't catch everything on the viewpoint of possibly asking our own city attorney, because we do have our own city attorney, but maybe it was kind of like you didn't want to ask our own city attorney because they might be biased or something or other. But that was just my suggestion. We have a city attorney. If you want to check our own city attorney, that's possible. But if you don't want to do it, that's fine. You probably have your own reasons. So anyway, keep up the good work, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Any other public comments? I think you're
Sorry, I was muted. No other public comments at this time.
All right. We're going on to future agenda items. Does anyone here have a future agenda item? No?
Well, I guess the two haiku things plus the Economic Development Committee from, I know those will be up there.
Yeah. And this will be in September, just reminding everybody.
September.
Yeah. And for the new members, there seems to be, just a little, maybe we could discuss again how we contact each other off these Zoom meetings. What's the right, if everybody has everybody's email address and how you can contact each other and what a subcommittee is. That might be just a refresher. It could be a couple of sentences.
Yeah, I would appreciate that. I feel like I have to dig through Keenan's emails every now and then to look for just regular phone numbers and email. So if it's helpful just to circulate another roster, that would be appreciated.
Yeah, I think it would be really appreciated if we all had a roster with an email and a phone number. Mm-hmm. And I think we kind of get the idea that subcommittees are, I think it's under 3, right? Or 3 and under. So if we all had those ways of contacting each other, this would make it a lot simpler, I think. Any more comments about future agenda items? Okay, our next meeting then will be on Monday, September 12th at 7. And I would just want to end the meeting with thanking you all for all your good work and your positive attitudes. And thank you to Keenan for all he's doing for us. And just let Aaron know how well I did at this meeting.